What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie here, back with a brand new Rank 'em. Today we are going to be ranking every single King of the Ring winner on a tier list. Before we get into that, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course you already know, the grind is real. So before I rank all of these winners from the past King of the Rings, I do want to say King of the Ring has always been one of my favorite wrestling match concepts throughout the years. I'm not talking about King of the Ring in 2024, but I'm talking about like in the 90s and the 2000s. I really enjoyed the King of the Ring concept because I always thought it was a great way to establish a new star. And this year's King of the Ring has been a little lackluster, but I hope that we go back to what King of the Ring was supposed to be. Doesn't have to always be a stupid king gimmick or a queen gimmick. So with that being said, let's rank all these former winners of the King of the Ring tournament. So starting things off, we have the two-time King of the Ring winner in 1991 and 1993. The only two-time winner, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, Bret the Hitman Hart. And when I think of King of the Ring, if it catapults somebody's career, it's going to get a better grade in my ranking system. And obviously, during this time, Bret Hart, he was an established mid-card guy going for the Intercontinental Championship. And of course, he did have his tag team with Jim Anvil, the Hart Foundation. But after winning King of the Ring, that's when Bret Hart really started to become a main eventer in this generation for WWF. So that, I am going to have to put Bret Hart in the A tier. I think that it really did establish him as a main event star, and he was one of the greatest in the ring during that time. Probably one of the greatest technicians of all time. So for him to be a two-time King of the Ring winner, it only makes sense. Logical sense. Moving on now to our next King of the Ring winner, we have Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H. And I believe this was in 1997. And he's another perfect example because during this time, he was an established mid-card guy. And just a couple years later, he would become the game, Triple H. And he would win multiple World Heavyweight Championships and had a first-class Hall of Fame career. And he's another one that I feel like the King of the Ring tournament definitely benefited. So, because of that, I am going to have to put Triple H in the B tier. Because the results didn't happen right away, even though he started to go for the Intercontinental Championship, but the results would happen just about a few years later. So the next person is one of my favorite guys in the Attitude Era, 1998 King of the Ring winner, the Most Dangerous Man, Ken Shamrock. And I feel like he had such a short run in the Attitude Era, but he did so much. And, of course, he is a former Intercontinental Champion. And he was one of those guys that I really thought that he could have been WWF Champion. But this King of the Ring win definitely did do stuff for him in his career. But, of course, his run did fall a little short. He did leave, I believe, late 1999 back to the UFC. So, because of that, man, I would put him in A, but I'm going to have to put him in B next to Triple H. I think if Ken Shamrock stayed in WWF, I think that he could have definitely won the championship and he could have been a big star. And he was a big part of the Attitude Era as well, especially coming in at like 1997 to 99. He did a lot within 2 years of his professional wrestling career. Moving on now to our next person, we have King Sheamus. And I remember him being the King of the Ring as a kid. I absolutely hated it. And because of that, I am going to have to put Sheamus in the C tier. I don't think the King of the Ring benefited him only because he already won the WWE Championship. And sometimes I feel like if you're a young superstar and you get the championship right away, you already reached your ceiling. And for the longest time, I felt like Sheamus reached his ceiling. Not saying he's not talented at all. He is obviously a future WWE Hall of Famer. He's accomplished a lot in the business, but this King of the Ring to me is just not, it's not memorable. It's not really memorable. And they gave him the stupid King gimmick as well. But I did enjoy that Elite figure that he did have during that time. Moving on now to probably one of the worst King of the Ring winners of all time. We're just going to put him in the D tier. King Corbin. One of the worst times in WWE. And what didn't help him winning King of the Ring is that basically, he dropped the whole Lone Wolf gimmick, and pretty much, like, everything after Lone Wolf was just pure dog shit. To me, he's definitely one of the worst King of the Ring winners. Moving on now to our next winner here. 1999 King of the Ring winner, Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn. And he was somebody that WWE always saw potential in as a future star. And they gave him multiple opportunities to go out and be a single star. And one of these opportunities was winning the 1999 King of the Ring. And that singles run, the one, didn't really do much. He did win an Intercontinental Championship. But when I think of King of the Ring, it needs to take you to that next level in your career. And Billy Gunn has always been better as a tag team specialist. And because of that, I am going to have to put him in the C tier, but I'm definitely going to be putting him over Sheamus, because I do love me some Mr. Ass. Moving on now to our next King of the Ring winner, we have 2002 King of the Ring winner, Brock Lesnar. And this man right here, I am going to easily have to put him in the A tier because he didn't need a King gimmick, and this is what I love about the King of the Ring tournament. It establishes young guys, and Brock Lesnar, he accomplished a lot in his rookie year, which having the King of the Ring resume, a part of that with winning the WWE Championship, winning the Royal Rumble in 2003, and just main eventing pay-per-view after pay-per-view, and putting on some of the best work, especially early in his career. The King of the Ring was definitely very important for his resume, and that right there immediately puts him in the A tier. Moving on now to our next King of the Ring winner, we have King Harley Race. And he is a little bit before my time, but he did benefit from the King gimmick, from some of the history that I watched. And because of that, I will put King Harley in the B tier over Ken Shamrock. Because sometimes the gimmick does work for certain people, and for Harley Race, during that time, I think the gimmick, having the King gimmick, definitely helped him. But now we have one of the most iconic ones. It's going right to the S tier. We have 1996 King of the Ring winner, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Obviously, it's the S tier because this is exactly what made him a main event star, was that Austin 316 promo after he won the King of the Ring tournament. And he went on to being the biggest star in the Attitude Era. And he wouldn't have gotten to that point in the Attitude Era without winning the 1996 King of the Ring. And it kind of was the perfect transition from having a shitty gimmick like the Ringmaster to the Stone Cold. Moving on now to our next winner, we have Tito Santana. And he is one of the original winners here from back in the day, 1989. And Tito Santana, Around this time, they didn't really care for the King of the Ring winners and stuff, so I am going to have to put him in the C tier. He didn't really do anything with his win. I always say if you win the King of the Ring, it should catapult your career, and with Tito Santana, it didn't. He was a tremendous worker, but I believe they gave him some type of gimmick similar to like the Lost like Matadors back in 2013. So because of that, I'm going to have to put him in the C tier. Next, we have the very first King of the Ring winner, Don Baracco. And around this time, like I said before, the King of the Ring gimmick didn't really matter. It didn't really do anything for a lot of people. And for Don, it didn't really do much. He didn't become a main event guy after winning it. So because of that, I gotta put him in the C tier. But moving on now to another King of the Ring winner, we have King Barrett. Wade Barrett, the former leader of the Nexus. And I do remember this run, and Wade Barrett was always so underrated. I never understood why he never won the WWE Championship, especially during the time he was the leader of Nexus when it was hot. Never really understood why they never made that decision, but he definitely transitioned into a pretty solid role throughout the years, focusing on the Intercontinental Championship, doing the Bad News Barrett gimmick, and he was an alright king. And obviously, he delivered on his promos, and I am going to have to put him in the B tier. Towards the end, I think that he did do the gimmick to the best of his ability, and probably the last King of the Ring winner that I actually enjoyed. But moving on now to, oh man, Ruthless Aggression, 2006 King of the Ring winner, King Booker. And I hated King Booker as a kid, but it's going S tier. Like, there's no questions about it. There's no debating. Booker T took this King gimmick, and it really put him in the main event picture during this time. He won the World Heavyweight Championship. We also had Queen Sharmell, and this was such a perfect gimmick change for him, because during the main roster run with Booker T, his run was becoming very stale, and he needed some type of gimmick, and I feel like the King gimmick, he absolutely killed it. And there's a lot of people that get this King gimmick, and it's literally dog shit. But Booker T really, took the ball, and he hit a home run with it. So I have to put him in the S tier, because it was definitely a memorable King of the Ring run. But moving on now to our next King of the Ring winner, 1995, King Mabel. A lot of you guys probably know him as Viscera. And man, he was also somebody that I enjoyed the presentation. Obviously, this was a little bit before my time, but I did watch a lot of his work during 1995 because my mom and we would always go to Blockbuster and Hollywood Home Videos, and I would rent out a lot of the old classic WWF pay-per-views. So I actually would watch Mabel, but obviously this was during a very bad period in WWE, and definitely not the best, so I am going to have to put King Mabel in the C tier. I know there's probably other people that have him under the D or the C, but for me, I'm going to have to put him there. It was alright, it wasn't the worst. Moving on now to one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, the King of Hearts, Owen Hart. And he was the 1994 King of the Ring winner, and definitely a very memorable King of the Ring run. He definitely took the opportunity and went all the way with it. Gotta put him in the S tier. Such an underrated talent, and I wish that his King of the Ring win could have taken him to the WWF Championship. I felt like he was one of the guys that really deserved the belt, especially during this time in 94, and especially in 97, 98. He definitely should have been the WWF champion at some point in his career. In my opinion, he is the greatest Hart to ever step foot in the ring. one of my favorites of all time, and he took this gimmick and he absolutely killed it. But moving on now to the next King of the Ring winner, we have the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and he won the King of the Ring in 1988, and they didn't really do anything with him with his King of the Ring run, so I am going to have to put him in the C tier, because I don't think the King of the Ring really benefited him whatsoever during this time, because they really weren't doing anything with it. It was just a house show tournament at first, and just through time, it definitely evolved. But man, if it was like the mid-90s and he had this gimmick, it definitely could have taken him to the WWF Championship. Moving on now to the next King of the Ring winner, 1987, one of the most memorable winners of all time, Macho Man Randy Savage, and there's no debating here. It's going right there in the S tier, right next to Stone Cold, because Macho King was such a great gimmick for him, and anytime Randy Savage had an opportunity, he always made the best out of it, and with the King of the Ring win, definitely made the best out of it. Plus, he also did win the WWF Championship, and of course had a Hall of Fame career, so adding the King of the Ring to it definitely really benefited him. And I think because of Macho King, it really made the King of the Ring matter. Because, of course, he is a Hall of Famer, one of the best in this business. So having him as an early winner definitely makes this tournament more prestigious. But moving on now to our next winner here, we have, I believe, the 2000 King of the Ring winner, Kurt Angle, and he is another, oh man, we're going to put him, we're putting him S tier, right, ooh, do I put him in front of Booker, or do I put him behind? Ooh, I'm going to put him behind Booker, because Booker killed it. King Kurt, obviously, another star the King of the Ring win benefited, because of course this was very early in his career, but he would move on to bigger things, winning the WWE Championship, European, Intercontinental, Tag. Kurt Angle was one of the greatest to ever step foot in a WWE ring, and winning the King of the Ring so early definitely solidified him as the Olympic gold medalist and one of the best technician wrestlers in the WWE during that time. And it also really benefited him and got him into bigger matches during this time. But moving on now to the 2001 King of the Ring winner, we have Edge. And man, I miss the King of the Ring trophy. I really hope we do get like this classic King of the Ring trophy for future King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. I really enjoyed all the segments back in the Attitude Era with that trophy. And Edge was definitely a memorable winner. And he went on to doing big things as well, so we are going to have to put him in the A tier because, of course, Edge was always a tag team specialist during this time, but later on, he would become a Hall of Famer, winning multiple World Heavyweight Championships and, of course, being one of the greatest Intercontinental Champions during his time. So for Edge, gotta put him in the A tier, because 2001, oh man, that was such a good time in pro wrestling, and he really competed against the very best to win that. But our last King of the Ring winner, we have the 2008 winner, William Regal, and as a kid, I fucking hated him. And he did his job to the best of his ability, and they had the gimmick a little too long, because a lot of the times it would be like for like a year, and then they would crown a new winner. But with William Regal, it felt like 5 years, even though I think it was only like 2. It just felt forever, and then after that, he became the general manager of Raw. But he did his job, I hated Regal, so because of that, I'm going to put him right there at the top of the C tier. He didn't really have a memorable win, but he did his job right, and that was pissing people off. Ooh, there is one person that I did forget, and that is King Xavier Woods. And I'm going to have to put him in the D tier because King of the Ring is just not the same like it used to be, and his run was just not memorable at all. It was honestly the drizzling shits. But there it is, guys. This is my list for every King of the Ring winner, and I really hope that we can bring back that prestige of being a King of the Ring winner. I want rising stars to get this and have these success stories like Brock Lesnar, like Booker T, Edge, Kurt Angle. That's what I want in my future King of the Ring winners. They need to be somebody that's so close to just grabbing that brass ring. And I hope that we can bring back the importance of King of the Ring because it is one of my favorite concepts. So guys, let me know in the comment section below your favorite King of the Ring winner of all time. I want to hear it down below. Obviously mine was Stone Cold Steve Austin because, man, if it wasn't for King of the Ring 96, we would have never gotten Austin 316. Everything in wrestling happens for a reason. If you guys enjoyed this ranking video and you guys want more tier list videos, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow me over on my social medias and other YouTube pages. All that down below. And of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.